believed in an afterlife, that after you died, your spirit, or Ka, lived on. But your spirit needed a place to live, therefore dead bodies needed to be preserved. The ancient Egyptians developed the art of mummification in 2600 BCE and practiced it for over 3,000 years. The full process was expensive, and only the rich and powerful could afford it. Those with less money had to settle for simpler forms of mummification. If you were among the privileged, the mummification process took around 70 days to complete. The dead body was brought to the embalmer, who wore the mask of Anubis, the Egyptian god of mummification and the afterlife. The body was cleaned, and the liver, lungs, stomach, and intestines were removed to be embalmed separately. These organs were placed in individual containers called canopic jars and were kept with the mummified body. The brain was seen as having no use and was removed from the skull through the nose using a metal hook. The heart was removed from the body, wrapped in linen, and replaced in the chest. Egyptians believed the heart to be the center of wisdom and good deeds. The dead would travel into the afterlife, and their heart would be weighed. If you had lived a good life, you were received into a state of happiness. But if your life was full of bad deeds, the devourer of the dead would destroy your spirit. The body was then packed full of and covered with a powdery substance called natron. Natron looked a lot like baking soda and would dry out the body. After the drying process, which took many days, the body was stuffed to hold its shape and covered inside and out with resin, a sticky substance taken from tree sap. The resin was believed to help preserve the body. Then the body was carefully wrapped in strips of linen fabric. Each finger and toe were wrapped separately. The entire wrapping process could take up to 2 weeks to complete. Because the body would be a home for the Ka, or spirit, the wrapped mummy could be decorated with jewels, precious metals, and paint. Royalty could have an ornate mask placed over the head of their mummy, and gold tips to cover their fingers. Since it was believed the dead lived on in the afterlife, their loved ones wanted to make death comfortable for them. Many everyday items were buried with mummies. Things like food, drink, clothing, utensils, mummified pets, and even servants who were killed and mummified were buried with the dead to serve them. Tombs were built to house the mummies and their possessions. Some mummies were buried in caves and even in the sandy deserts of Egypt. As people began to discover mummies, their tombs were looted and destroyed. Often robbers didn't treat them with respect and unwrapped and destroyed the bodies. Today, laws have been passed that protect mummies. We may not share the same belief in the afterlife that the ancient Egyptians did, but certainly we can respect the care